Behold, trapped in a hellscape of their own invention, socially unaware old white men bound by the pretense of being fake lawyers yet knowing no law, no exquisite Latin terminology, they are inexplicably compelled to quibble over minutia, squabble over triflings, and bicker like those who value their backyards far too highly without even knowing the difference between an easement and an alleyway. At this very moment, you have entered the heart of the Law Offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker. Let's get started.
Welcome to another edition of the Law Offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker on the September 22nd, 2021. We have a very special guest here today. His name is Ike Avelli, and he's a comedian and author based out of some state on the East Coast. I think it's somewhere out there. Anyway, and he's I may or may not be helping us later on with our client, which is Schmear The Queer. And so stay tuned, everybody, for that, because who knows where that's going to go. But today, I believe Brendan has worked out a sponsor for us to not pay our bills because it's not a real sponsor, just like we're not lawyers, everybody, and don't forget it. So, Brendan, if you'd like to take over, feel free.
Today, our sponsor is actually a nonprofit that the Law Offices of Quibble and Squabble and Bicker support. And the Law Offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker is proud to promote the House of Your Mama, a nonprofit organization dedicated to providing food and shelter to struggling comedians. That's right. If you haven't just found your groove, if your timing is off and all you have is a bad Your Mama joke or a pun not even worthy of Matt's dad, the House of Your Mama has a place at the table for you. You can give to the House of Your Mama by contacting us directly at our website, qsblaw.org, and join our circle of friends or circle of jerks. The House of Your Mama. When your jokes fall flat, you don't have to.
Oh, God, I definitely need that. Although I have to say that my dad has probably never told a pun or a joke in his life. So
I got the address. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ike was all over that one. Well, thank you very much for that one, Brendan. I think that was actually better than you thought it was. It was. It also goes with like an episode that we did like a year or so ago when we did Yo Mama and Cryptids.
I thought of the Yo Mama thing, and I knew that Ike was a comedian, and I had 5 minutes while I was trying to screw my camera together. So anyway, typical Haggerty last minute, huh?
And we're glad that the dog is helping you too with your special sound.
I know. I love the dog right now. I've texted my wife. She doesn't seem to give a shit.
She's like, podcast schmodcast, you bastard.
The irony is, before she left and the dog in the house by itself, she said, "Are you doing your podcast?" I said, "Yeah, I'm trying to get on right now." She goes, "Okay." And then she left.
She should help you, considering you got that really crappy tattoo for her last week.
It is not crappy. I like it.
Oh, I gotta see.
It's cute.
I love tattoos.
This is his wife. This is like their 50th wedding anniversary.
It's two weasels.
Talk
Two
a little
weasels
bit so I can
snuggling.
actually see it, so you'll be on the big screen. I can't see it with that little. Say something, so you'll be on the main screen.
Oh, he's muted himself.
Ah.
He's like he's
Now it
yelling
sounds like
because
me.
he's muted.
Okay,
himself.
now we go. Here we go.
There
you
So
go.
there we go. You can. This is a little tricky, but you can see there's. How do I? You
Two
can see
weasels.
Two weasels. Yes, that's exactly what they are. They're sea otters, and
They
it was
are.
our 30th wedding anniversary, not our 50th. I did not marry Holly at 2.
That would be quite a romance, though.
It would be, and it would be quite
Oh.
amazing as well that they got arranged at such a young age. All right, so let's let our guest, our real legitimate guest, who has been the first one to show up for 3 weeks. So thank you for not ghosting us, Ike. We appreciate that. Tell us something about 50 Shades of Gay.
Well,
Now I can hear you. Perfect.
I think that explained everything we needed to know.
50 Shades of Gay started February 2015. I was trying to come up with a gay pride show for New York City, and the 50 Shades of Grey trailer came up on TV, and I says, there you go, 50 Shades of Gay, it's got to happen. So I created this adult variety show, drag queen, singers, myself, costumes, audience participation. And since 2015, we've been selling out cabaret theaters around the country.
Did you have any jugglers?
I want a juggler. Why, you juggle?
No, I'm just thinking that would be great.
I have aerialists, so a juggler would be great.
Greg wants to actually get involved with the production of your show and tell you what needs to be in it.
I must say, Greg, your eyelashes are stunning.
Yeah. Can you get close? Can you get closer to the camera?
I have to do that to hear. The sound is really bad today for some reason, so I'm like, I can't hear Ike without this.
Yeah, he wants me on top of the mic again.
Yeah.
The problem with Greg is that he actually doesn't understand how to use technology, and so he doesn't know that it's better to have headphones on to listen to people during the course of a podcast.
I tried.
Yeah,
But thieves.
This is like the last holdout. He doesn't actually have Wi-Fi in his house.
Well, guys, if you can't hear me, it's going to be like a fourth week without a guest. So
yeah,
I know.
Well, luckily I can hear you, so that's the most important thing.
You have to look at my ear hair. How's my ear hairs doing?
It's your nose hair that's troubling.
Colors.
Actually, his ear hair is similar in quantity as his tuft on top of his head.
So you do these shows all around the country. So you're on the road a lot. And how did COVID affect all that?
Yeah, threw a wrench right in that tire. It was really bad last year. Started doing virtual shows, and that was a nightmare because I got Zoom bombed right in the beginning by a lot of porn stars. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Like literal porn stars were Zoom bombing you. Like Jenna Jameson was like, "I'm going after this guy."
They were coming on. They were having sex on but the best part was we had like a Pulitzer Prize person on just as they came on. Yeah.
That's the beginning of their next book.
Yeah. Right.
Or whatever they won their Pulitzer Prize for.
Was it John Updike?
Love and War and Porn.
John Updike. Is he still alive, Greg?
I don't know.
That was
and it's 50 Shades of Gay. It wouldn't be Updike. It would have to be something else.
Although.
Okay. It was Judy Bloom.
Judy Blewham was the porn star's name.
Judy Blewham.
Judy Dench would be a great.
Blew him.
Judy Blewham and John Updike tonight for a one-night special.
Oh my God!
On the New York Times literary supplement porn show.
The New York Times should have a bestseller list for porn videos. That would actually make it a little more interesting, I think.
Mm.
Yeah, the ones with literary merit.
Yes,
who
was
the porn star, the female porn star that was really big in the 70s, and she did what was it called, The Green Room or something?
Beyond the Green Door. Behind the Green Door. Is that Marilyn Chambers?
Yes. Marilyn Chambers, that's the one.
Yes, Marilyn Chambers.
No idea. My porn trivia is weak.
It's okay.
I wouldn't call it trivia. I'd call it growing up. I've learned a lot.
Oh, well, I never grew up, so that explains a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, you were actually getting laid, I think.
The thing that doesn't make sense, Greg, is the fact that you're asexual, and the fact that you have any connection to porn never makes any sense to me.
All right.
I wasn't asexual for most of my life.
Show of hands, how many of you would be a porn star if you were given the right money?
I would.
Never.
I would too.
No, that would be just too embarrassing.
I didn't have the looks. I didn't have the cock size. I couldn't do it. My penis is too small. I would have loved to have been a porn star.
Why, Greg? Why would you love to be one?
Because you're getting paid to fuck.
Yeah.
The best thing in the world is fucking, and you get to do it and get paid.
I disagree.
All I'm saying is, he said if the money was right. So if the money was right, I'd do it.
No, you could pay me minimum wage for that shit, or I'd pay them to do it.
You'd pay them.
Guys, give me a nickel an hour.
A little higher. Yeah.
Pay me like a Victorian child worker. I'll be fine.
Hey, if I go on mute again, it's because the Girl Scouts walked in the house.
That's right. This is probably not topics for the Girl Scouts.
This got me in trouble last time. I just want you to know.
You know, Ike also wrote a book. You know, we're like using up his time, but it's not fair. Wow. Ike wrote a book in 2017 called A Year in the Life of Ike Avelli, and it ain't pretty, but it's just specifically a year. So what year did you talk about? Oh, he's showing his book. Say something while you show the book so it shows up.
Can you see the book? Yep. This A Year in the Life of Ike Avelli. It's from 2017, the entire year. My life on the road. It's just a diary of my life on the road.
Are you cuddling with baby harp seals on the cover? I just saw lots of white fluffiness. What is that?
Film.
Baby harp seals. Where did that even come from, Greg?
None of them got hurt.
It looked like it. It looked like white fluffy stuff all around his head.
No, it's all fake fur. I gotta go all out as a gay man. You gotta have the fake fur.
So are there like you said 50 shades of gay? So what would be like the first shade, and that would be the middle shade and the final shade that you discuss during the course of your show?
The first shade is yellow urine.
Oh, okay.
And the last shade would be poop brown. Everything in between is the rainbow.
It's the rainbow between yellow and brown.
Yeah,
I think ochre is in there somewhere.
So you basically know what you're getting when you come to the show.
There's some polka dot in there as well, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Did you ever go to like a small town? You get like community blowback from the small town? Like, I don't know.
I've been really lucky. We performed in Providence, Chicago. Orlando was I thought was going to be a little iffy, but they were a great audience. We were just there last 3 weeks ago.
I mean, aside from Miami, that is the gayest place in Florida. I mean,
well, it depends. You know, where I was at the Abbey Theater.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and they were really good. I mean, a lot of the audience that comes out are usually, believe it or not, birthday parties, bridal parties. I mean,
Really?
there are, yeah, it's a straight man's dream if you come to my show. The bridal parties are insane.
When's the next one?
You just got a tattoo from your wife. You can't go to that.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
Unless you take your wife with you.
I'll take my wife with me.
What if you say you're taking the Girl Scouts out for a day?
And that's where he takes them.
Field trip.
I could tell my wife it's a diversity thing for the Girl Scouts.
Yep.
What kind of
You know?
badge do they get for it?
They get a nice badge, yellow and brown.
A yellow and brown badge.
All the colors of the rainbow.
Golden shower and scap badge.
I'm not going to say any jokes. Just
Now, you were
because-
also the winner of the Get Out Magazine LGBT 2014 Comedian of the Year Award. And what did that get you, that particular award?
It got me an award.
Did it get you on the cover of the magazine, or?
I actually was on the cover of the magazine before the awards even started. I was originally on it in 2013.
It didn't get you laid? Did it get you laid?
Please. Ricky Martin better be knocking on my door soon after I won that award, but it never happened.
Ricky Martin is all about comedians.
Is he?
I don't know.
Do you know him?
I have no idea.
Can you put in a good word for me?
I'm sure there's some guy named Ricky Martin somewhere in Oregon. I could track him down for you.
Yeah, he's
just-
on parole.
Although
I just
you
thought
you
Ricky
do have a
Martin
good
was-
joke regarding Ricky Martin that I saw in one of your stand-ups. So I think these guys should hear your joke regarding Ricky Martin and how you knew he was gay.
Oh, yes. So I usually ask the audience, how many people didn't know Ricky Martin was gay? And usually somebody will raise their hand and I'm like, put your hand down. He was in the boy band Menudo. And I say, let's break that down further. Menudo, men you do.
I never thought of that.
I never thought of that. Now I'll never think of Menudo again the same way.
Living
I actually thought I knew he was gay because he was just too good looking to be straight. And because I have a theory that a man can't be too good looking without turning gay. There's a certain threshold. Or when you're incredibly pretty like that, there's no way you're gonna. I don't know what it is, because I worked at a gay coffee house for 10 years, and all the guys who came in were like the most beautiful men I've ever seen in my life, and it was like, yeah, you're too beautiful for women, I guess.
Are you single, Greg?
I'm single as fuck.
I could braid your ear hair.
There you go.
And it's long enough to do.
Well, then, Greg, explain to me is that why it seems to be, generally speaking, on the reverse side of that for the females?
I hate to say it does. We're probably going to get a lot of bad emails about this, but yeah, and the lesbians could look however bad they wanted, and they could be studs. They'd be these butch lesbians who, if they were straight, they'd be shit out of luck. They'd be fucked if they were trying to get a guy. They'd be like Roseanne Barr. But as a lesbian, they were studs. They had a different hot young lesbian girlfriend with them every week, like making out like bandits.
Wow, this is quite a
It's
coffee.
interesting.
I've never
I don't
actually
know
seen bandits making out though, Greg. I mean, what does that look like?
Bandits make out. They have urges.
They have to pull down their masks.
Sometimes
Like we all
they're
do now.
built in.
So are you saying that we're all bandits now?
Mm-hmm.
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 But gay men don't usually. I don't get hit on by gay men. I seem to get hit on by straight men, and I don't know why. But
That doesn't really make sense to me. Why would straight men be hitting on you?
a curiosity?
Yeah.
The curiosity
that.
means they're not straight.
Yeah, but how they follow up with it, if they're just looking to see if somebody's interested in them, that's the opposite, of what they're into. It's like I could get a man and I could get a woman. Doesn't mean they have to fulfill it.
Yeah.
It's just that urge that hey, I could get a gay man and a straight woman, and
That is such a strange concept for me.
it is.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I mean,
where's Bill Cosby and a roofie when you need him?
All right, that's
well,
what I
we
was
know
about to say.
Isn't he still in prison?
No, he's out.
He's
Oh,
out.
He's coming to your door, Greg.
Oh yeah, he
I'm
got.
safe.
Yeah, no, you didn't know he got. You didn't know he's not in jail anymore, right, Greg?
You did not know this.
Yes, he is not in jail anymore.
I thought he'd be in jail for a long time, but after it's kind
No.
of proven you did all that shit. That's crazy. Oh wait, he has money. I forgot. Duh.
Well, yeah, and I think he
He's
got
rich.
himself a decent lawyer. Although I don't think he's getting so many of those residuals anymore. They may have taken those away from him from
Well,
having been
Yeah, I
convicted.
don't think the Cosby Show's playing
Well, they
anymore.
did the same with Roseanne too,
Anywhere.
and she's back on the air now too. So I think they don't, as long as her name is still attached to it contractually, I don't think they could stop paying her.
Yeah, but Roseanne didn't roofie anybody.
That's,
Yeah, she didn't do anything that egregious. She just said some stupid shit.
if he
a little
had put a roofie in my drink, I would have never said a word.
You wouldn't have remembered.
He picked the wrong floozie.
What's the poster behind you, Ike?
Sopranos.
Sopranos.
Oh, okay.
Are
Same
you, are you excited about the prequel, Ike? Did you
I
see the
seen
commercial?
I seen it. I seen the.
I'm
prequel.
very excited.
He
Wait,
said
you
he's
saw the
already-
movie?
No, the trailer.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm so Sopranos is the shit for me. That was one of the best things I've ever seen.
Weren't they going to make The Sopranos like a fully gay show? Like every character?
Oh God, that would have been so funny.
I mean, because they only wound up having
like-
like one or two in it, ultimately, I think.
Mm-mm.
So I think they were going to have all of them be gay.
I could see the.
I love the
dialogue
scene-
now, right? Like, were you just trying to run me over with that car?
I love the scene where the guy gets out of prison and he kind of implies like, I did some shenanigans. He's like, in prison you get a pass. Every guy gets a pass in prison to be a little gay.
Yeah.
You can
See?
do that shit.
There's the straight men again.
Yeah.
Actually, that's a question I have. So I don't know if you've ever been in prison or not, or if you've known people who are in prison.
That's so sweet.
Yeah, he's got the face of a convict.
Yeah, nice
Yeah.
lead in, Matt.
Sure.
Well, I
Yeah.
said I don't know. He may or may not. I don't know if he can answer this question is all. So, as a gay person who's in prison, is that? I mean, not that prison is a good thing, but is it a better thing for relationships?
I can't even believe you're asking this question.
I know.
I
don't get these opportunities.
The guy that lectured me about using the word retard is asking this question. Go
And,
ahead.
you know, many people should lecture you about that. You should still
Mhm.
change your point of view on it. Anyway,
All right.
I think I would want the prison, wherever you're at, to know I'm gay. I want to be the belle of the ball finally. You know.
so
here's
you
my
want to
dance
go
card.
in like all aflame.
Yeah, right. Literally.
Flaming.
Where does that term come from anyway? Why are gay men called flaming?
I don't know. I even used it in my show at one point, and I don't know why I did, but I think it's just the.
Does it come
fire.
from flamboyant?
Uh,
Flaming.
really-
I don't know. I think it's like the fire, the flame, and the colors, and they're very
Like
flaming.
very intense. Like that guy's, because usually flaming is for when a guy's really over the top gay, like blatantly gay, if you will.
Yeah.
He's flaming
Yeah.
gay.
Yeah.
So like a fire. Fire's out of control.
Not the best word. It doesn't really fit anything. Flamey, I would say maybe. You know, what's that flower? Oh, no, I don't want to say pansy. It's something that's a little bit more realistic. Flame, I don't like the flame.
Okay, so don't get too close to it because it'll burn you.
Maybe, yeah.
So you personally are not one of the more flamboyant acting gay performers, I'm assuming.
I think for me, the deep voice always throws people off. They don't understand until they see, like, when I'm on stage, because I have a lot of costumes on stage. They call me like the Cher of the comedy world. I've got maybe 10 costume changes in my show.
Wow.
So pretty flamboyant.
So
Or like
in the
Elton
beginning
John.
of the show, you're wearing urine, and at the end of the show, you're wearing shit.
Yep, it's a scatty old time.
It's a scatty old time.
See, I would totally
that's
know
the
you're
new
gay.
slogan for your show.
Hell yeah.
I would totally know you were gay, Ike, because
You
you're so
would?
good looking.
Oh,
Because you're over the threshold.
are those prescription glasses?
I was going
I
to
do
say he could actually look like one of the people on our poster because he's got similar facial hair and glasses to us.
Yeah, I do have the cataracts, so I'm getting cataracts.
But you don't even drive, Greg. How can
Yeah,
you
I
have a
don't, but I have
cataract?
cataracts.
Thanks,
What does
Greg.
that have to do with driving?
Well,
I
you can
think-
have a
I think
Pontiac
Greg's-
or you can have a cataract.
I think Greg's just flirting at this point.
He might be, or he's trying to get like a place to live if he moves back east.
I
Greg's
could be
originally
like
from New
your
York.
father. I could call your fathers.
Are you in New Jersey, Ike?
Yes, and another country on its own. Yep.
Well, you don't even have like the heavy Jersey accent either. But I was thinking because you have a Sopranos poster, that may be the tipper.
Yeah,
The
that,
tip-off.
well, that when I have a couple of margaritas, then the whole accent, then I start becoming Fran Drescher. You have to see me. It's ridiculous.
Have a
Actually,
margarita right now.
I kind of want to hear you start
Hello?
talking like Fran Drescher.
Yeah, it happened a few weeks ago. Everyone came up to me. They were like, "Are you Fran Drescher's brother?" I was like, "I don't know. It's the margarita. It's the mojitos. It's just one or two, and all of a sudden."
Do you have any cooking sherry in your kitchen? Go drink it right now. I want to
Cooking
hear this. Anything, any alcohol will
You
do.
just want him to get drunk right now, Greg, is what I
Yeah,
said.
so I want to hear Fran Drescher's brother.
I'll come out to Oregon.
We would welcome you.
should.
We'll take you out to karaoke or
Hey,
something. Or
let me know if there's a cabaret theater out there. I will book it.
Darcelle's.
Oh my God, Darcelle's!
Darcelle's is like the-
institution.
Yeah, Darcelle's is like the big drag theater in Portland.
Really?
Do you know that
Been around
Darcelle's?
for like
I
30
went
years.
there. No, it's been 50 years. It was started on my birthday, the same week I was born, 1967. Darcelle's been doing that shit.
You're younger than me, you bitch.
I'm younger than you. You're the bitch. You look like you could be my son.
I'm 55.
You're mad at me?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
66.
At no point are you supposed to call the guest bitch, Greg.
No.
No.
The straight man you don't call a bitch. The gay man's flattered.
Well,
He's right.
you and I are the same age then, Ike. You look great, I have to say. I wish that I looked as healthy as you.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm going to say that he's a flaming bitch right now. That's how I feel. Ike's a flaming bitch.
You are really sweet, Greg.
It makes complete sense now why he's getting along with us then.
Yeah.
Yes, up and offending. Now I understand. It's the same era.
You know, every time we talk to people like you, Ike, we talk to some people who are like our age or older.
Oh,
who look
people
like,
like
they're 30.
you, Greg? You just being
No,
racist
not
now?
like gay, not gays. I'm saying 30. They look like they're 35 and they're older than me. And I'm like, I got to change my life. I feel so bad.
No,
Like I'm doing something wrong.
We go when we're out hanging out with everybody after the shows. We go to the gay clubs, and a lot of the guys are in their 20s, but they look like they're 50. It's so hard. They're doing the drugs and it's If
Mm.
you want to say, hey, lay off, you're going to be in a retirement home by 30.
Wow.
Yeah, that wouldn't
Hey,
be
wait,
good.
could this be a thing? I just came up with it. So they say black don't crack, so maybe gay don't gray. Maybe something about being gay makes you age better.
I think it's just Ike got lucky, Greg, because there's certainly plenty of older gay men who look like older gay men.
Yeah, some look great though. My brother looks great.
Is he
Well, there you
gay?
go. You could hook him up with Ike. He's your brother's just a little bit
He's
older.
got a boyfriend.
Oh, well,
Oh.
forget it then.
Yeah.
Here comes Fran again. Ugh.
Ike doesn't care. Hey, Ike, I do have a question about your name because in Zoom here we have you as RJ Iacovelli.
Yeah.
Does RJ mean something in particular?
No, that's actually Ike Avelli is a breakdown of my stage name. That's my last name, but I made it Ike Avelli, Ike Avelli.
Because no one would ever be able to spell it.
That's why I got it when I was a kid.
Oh, are you Italian?
Yeah.
No, that name is actually Portuguese, Greg.
Call
I
on.
don't know.
It's very Ethiopian. That's like Ethiopian type of name. Iacovelli.
I'm
100%
100% Italian. Who wants an empanada?
And that's why you like the Sopranos too.
Well, I'm sure it has something to do with the show, Greg, not just because he's Italian.
No, I like it because I'm Italian. It helps that I'm Italian.
But you got to understand, like, lots of people like that show who are not Italian and don't live in Jersey.
I know,
Greg.
but they don't get the richness.
So that isn't
that Italians
necessarily
get.
the reason
There's
he would
another
like the
layer.
show.
But when you're
I
Italian, there's another layer you get.
I never saw the show.
Oh, you
I think
idiot.
Brendan is lying to us.
You
No,
bitch.
It's true, and I'm not Italian, so maybe that's why.
Please watch it tonight.
Well, I'm not Italian, and I love the show. It's definitely one of the best shows that was ever made.
I saw The Departed, the movie. I mean, I saw that.
Yeah, but that's Irish Mafia.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, that makes more sense then.
I like your shirt, Brendan.
Oh, yes. Beastie Boys?
Yes.
Yes.
Brendan actually knew them before they were called the Beastie Boys.
No, I didn't.
I
Don't
thought
make
you said you
lies.
knew them before they had that name.
I didn't know them. I mean, they were a band.
You knew
before they
of
were
them.
I knew of them.
Oh, okay. I thought they like performed at a place where you performed or something in Seattle.
No, we're crossing time streams or something. No,
Mhm.
the Beastie Boys were in New York, and they never made it to Seattle until they were the Beastie Boys. But they were a punk band originally.
Oh, okay.
And there you go. There's your music history lesson for today.
Oh no, it was Kurt Cobain who you knew before he got into
Yes.
Nirvana. That's what it was.
That's right.
Okay. I
Who was not in the Beastie Boys.
He should have
No,
been.
but you did tell us you opened for some hot shit. Oh, sorry, never mind. Ike, what were you saying?
No, that's it. See, look at how a gay man controls the room. See this?
with the pen.
I thought that was a
We're
spoon.
all the same age. Music, you gotta love the music from the past,
Oh, absolutely.
hands down.
Yes, Beethoven, Mozart. Exactly. Sticks
Cab
on
Calloway.
logs, right?
I did
Beating rocks against a cave wall. The music
I
from the
rec-
past is the best.
I recently did a thing with my oldest son where we were having this debate about the 80s versus the early 2000s, which is kind of his time period. So we both made Spotify lists called Defend the Decade. And I made one for the 80s and he made one for the early 2000s. And I think we both came to the conclusion that if you weren't listening to, the regular like music, there was a lot of good music in both time periods. Because I was like, it's like the early 2000s. I'm like, garbage. What are you talking about? The early 2000s.
Yeah,
There was some good music.
I love the 80s. The 80s to me, you had everything. You
Right.
really did. The hair bands, of course you had Whitney Houston, Madonna, Tina Turner, Prince. Think about it, they're all huge names and they were all talented. Now I couldn't even tell you who's on the charts.
I asked my daughter that question. I'm like, who's popular right now? She's like, and she's 26. She's like, is
Lizzo?
it Katy Perry maybe? I don't know.
No, it's like Drake, Kendrick Lamar, actually, who won like a Pulitzer for his rap, honestly, and Major Lazer. There's a bunch of Lil Jon. I think might still be popular.
There's a lot of littles out there. I do know
lot
that.
of Lils.
Little this, little that.
Yeah.
Skinny
That's still
penis.
happening?
All those people.
Hey, Ike, is there anything else that you were specifically wanting to promote? Like, do you have a show coming up that you're doing anywhere, or?
Well, I actually have another show that came out right before the pandemic. I wrote, it was called Lube, a Gaysical, and it's a parody of Grease. And it did amazing, and we are trying to bring it back in the spring of next year. So if you guys ever come out to New York or New Jersey, you got to come see the show. It's hysterical.
Lube,
Does it take place in the 50s?
Gaysical.
Lube, a Gaysical.
Does it take place in the 50s? Is that why the connection agrees?
No, we actually did everything current. So there was a lot of, we put pop songs in there. I wrote a lot of the parodies from Grease and changed them up. And then we have a lot of songs from the past, the classics like Queen, Spice Girls. We mixed up so many songs that kind of fit the storyline, and we sing them live and lip sync, and it's hysterical. I'm telling you, guys got to come out and see it one time.
Oh, definitely. What song from Grease did you parody?
There were a few of them. I did There Are Worse Things I Could Do.
Okay.
On that one.
The other one was Sandy.
Okay.
And Look at Me, I'm Sandra D, except this one was called Look at Him, He is John Holmes.
That's a parody.
Yeah.
So is that where Uber Lube comes from? Your product, Uber Lube, is that
Yes,
from
it
the
does.
musical? Okay.
The fascist lubrication.
I told them, I said, send me some money, some product, and I will write a show for Lube.
So there's worst thing I can do. What's the take on that? What's the
Everything. You can make a list of the worst
Change.
things you could do,
Yeah,
Greg.
The song
Brown
I
stuff?
It was I Guess I Am Naive is what the song is called, and it's the girl who plays Sandy, but it's not Sandy, but she's attracted to the guy who turns out to be straight. So I'm sorry, the straight guy who turns out to be gay. So she's in love with this guy, and then she finds out he's gay, and then the song comes in, I Guess I Am Naive.
And that would be my theme song growing up, is I Guess I Am Naive. Which, unfortunately, does bring us to the midway point on our show. Just so everybody knows, Ike Avelli can be found at ikeavelli.net. You can find out all about him there, or you could stalk him at home to learn actually a lot more, and we'll give out that address and phone number later. But right now, we have a special segment that was first introduced last week. This is our food segment. So this is a special production from Waspy Soda Pop. So here we go.
Food is for eating, food is for eating, food is for eating with Waspy Soda Pop.
Hi, everybody. Today's recipe is zebra cake with real zebra. First, you got to preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. You want to coat a 10-cup pan liberally with rendered zebra fat and then set aside. Then, in the bowl of your mixer, use a paddle attachment and mix 2 cups of rendered zebra fat. You want to get that from like your local exotic meats butcher. And 2 cups of sugar together for 2 minutes so light and fluffy. You add 9 seagull eggs. They got to be wild seagull eggs, no domesticated seagull. One at a time, mixing until combined, scraping the sides as needed, sides of the bowl, not the seagulls. Then you turn the mixture to low and add 3 cups of flour, 2 cups of minced tenderized zebra meat, slowly until combined. Again, scraping the sides so everything is combined evenly. Spread the batter into the prepared pan and bake for 70 to 80 minutes. You allow the cake to cool in the pan for about 20 minutes, so you're going to burn your mouth, and then release onto a wire rack to cool completely. Then draw a little zebra on top with a pencil or something that you draw on cakes with, whatever you want to use, a little spray paint. I don't know, as long as it's edible, it's important. There you go. This has been Waspy Soda Pop with real zebra cake with real zebra. I think I said that twice.
Food is for eating, food is for eating, food is for eating with Waspy Soda Pop.
So glad that he has joined us for.
I know. We have a 4th member now, Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker.
That is great. It needs a video.
It does need a video.
He's got like extra production now. He got himself a singer and everything. It's
Yeah.
It actually sounds like good food, though. These recipes you make up, or I'm sorry, Waspy makes up.
Cake with zebra meat, Greg, is something that's appealing.
Yeah, nice savory cake.
Liberally.
I made a savory cake once. It was great.
All right. Well, this brings us
But I like how Waspy Oh, never mind.
No, go ahead, Greg. What were you going to say? You like how
I was
waspy?
gonna say I like how waspy feels the need to tell you to let it cool down or you burn your mouth. Like that's part of the recipe.
Yeah, it's like safety
Like
first.
common sense. Yeah, that's
You know,
good.
that's why you're
I like
cooling
it.
it down. So anyway, all right. Well, Ike, if you want to stick around to help us with our client for today, our client for today is Schmear the Queer, and basically it comes about because Greg and I were having a conversation about when we first became aware of homosexuality when we were growing up, and the first, I think, inkling of it came from this game that we would be taught by older boys in the neighborhood called Schmear the Queer. Now, I became aware of that around, I think, the age of 10 or so, and I was living in Virginia at the time. And Greg, you were in New York, I'm assuming, around the same age. Brenda, had you ever heard of this game, Schmear the Queer?
Yeah, no, it was something you played. It was like a football-esque type of game that I recall.
Yeah, for some reason you just like nailed people to the ground. You don't know why. You know, I mean, Ike, was that
No,
something? I mean, you're a similar age. Did you come across that?
It was called Getting Lucky.
So, but at the time, I didn't know what a quote-unquote queer was. I thought a queer was just somebody who was strange or different, and whatever that meant. So it could be like whoever was picked to be that at the time. But, you know, that would have been in around the mid-'70s. And so I think that was kind of when homosexuality is becoming more familiar in terms of on a more societal scale based upon what was coming out of San Francisco at the time. And then just a couple of years. Yeah, I think a couple of years later was Village People, like 77 or 78,
Yep.
something like that. But at some point,
Wait. They're gay?
well, I don't think the lead singer was.
No, he wasn't.
No.
But
the rest
I
were
think
flaming.
Ike, don't you know a couple of guys from the Village People?
Yes, I do. I actually interviewed Native American, now we say, from the Village People just a few weeks ago. We do a show called Shut Up and Drive with Eileen Shapiro.
Whoa!
And we picked him up on the street. We had a great interview. You got to watch. It's on YouTube.
Oh, Eileen is our publicist who connected
I
us
want
to
to
Ike.
see that.
And she wanted me to ask you about a taxi cab. Is this the thing that she's talking about? Shut Up and Drive?
Oh my God! All right. So, do you want to go back to the queer, or do you want to go back?
No, I want in on the taxi.
I want the
cab.
taxi cab.
Mm-hmm.
For 500, right, Alex? All right,
Yeah.
So 2017, Eileen and I met up in the city, and we were talking business. And she did an interview for a publication, and we had to head back to Penn Station. And we get in the cab, and we decided to be really vulgar while the guy was driving. Like, think taxi cab confessions. Her trying to give me a blowjob, simulating sex. It was the most funniest thing. I wish we had video cameras. If you guys had seen this, you would have been peeing in your pants. Yellow,
Wow.
like on the rainbow, the 50 Shades. Yeah.
If only mine was. So,
What was the cabbie doing?
That he was wondering, when the fuck is this stop gonna end?
You're gonna kick you out. They have the right to be like, get the fuck out of my cab.
Yeah, we were insane.
Were you in a full state of undress by the end of it, or what happened?
No, do you know how hard it was to get in that outfit for me as it was to get out of that one? No.
Aha. All right, so that's the cab story.
Yeah.
All right, so but Shut Up and Drive is different. Is that like your own podcast?
Yeah, I would say we do it live in a car. Billy Hess is a photographer, and he's the driver. And then we pick up our guests, and we kind of have these really stupid interviews with them. And
we're familiar with stupid interviews.
Yeah. And then we just drive around the city, get some information on them. They promote what's going on, and then we give them some lube
to get them out of the cab. That's
yeah.
Otherwise they're stuck. That's right.
Yeah.
That's the sound that it makes when they get out of the cab. After the lube is like liberally applied. So so the photographer is the driver.
Correct. He's a New York City photographer, and he raised his hand to be the driver because he's just as crazy as the both of us.
So how does he take the pictures while he's driving?
No, he don't take the pictures outside after the ride.
Okay.
Although I do kind of say, hey, he's not a bad driver. 3 DUIs, and look how great he's driving. You know, and then they want to get out.
Hey, that'll get you in the Catskills. That kind of joke. Hey, take my wife, please. Hey.
Did I mention our nonprofit for you, Matt?
Tell me the nonprofit.
The house of your mama. You may find a home there. Is all I'm saying.
I've been looking for one. It's something that's
and our other
necessary.
sponsor is Uber Lube.
Uber Lube.
We have 2 sponsors today.
I know that's actually a real product. It seems.
And it's salons, high-end salons use it in their hair to finish off the. Well, doesn't that sound funny?
Finish off, huh?
A happy ending to the haircut.
All the Nazi salons.
They use it when the girls put the finishing product in their hair.
Yeah, I need to go to the hair salon where there's the finishing off. I just give a tip. I give a tip, and she, mumbles something to me, and I leave. I
think you need to talk to your nonprofit as well, Brendan. Anyway, regarding your tip, so that
I'll give you a tip.
Yeah, that's the tip.
Getting back to our client, which is again Schmear the Queer. So at some point, we all became aware of what homosexuality was. So can you guys
some
recall
of us more than others?
Can you recall when or where you were when that concept finally became clear that it had to do with men being with other men?
When he was in prison.
When Brendan was in prison?
Hey, we said we weren't going to talk about that.
You get a pass, Brendan.
Anyone could answer this because I had a good friend in high school who I always thought was gay. So I knew I must have had that concept at the time. But actually, I talked to him just a number of years ago. He said at the time, he didn't know he was gay. He didn't think of himself as gay.
Most kids back then couldn't admit they were gay.
Yeah, but he was like a junior, senior in high school.
Yeah, that was still too early. My brother was closeted until he was mid-20s. He was dating girls.
Uh-huh.
He was fighting it. We grew up Catholic.
43.
So, 33.
43.
So just 7 years, 70, 12 years ago. I don't know how to add.
Ike, were you did you know you were gay though? Were you masturbating, thinking about men since you were a kid, or you fought it?
Well, I dated women. I dated women. I had one woman for about 8 years.
Yeah.
But you still thought about it because we grew up in a time. Well, for me anyway, you couldn't be gay. You couldn't say the word gay. You just really, you hid it, and you did your best you could. But you'd be surprised today. You see men are really a little more, feminine, and they're married and have children. And back then, you tried to be straight. You tried to act straight.
Did you know, you probably realized, I'm different. Did you know that, they're playing Schmear the Queer? Did you know, I'm queer? Or did you have that realization?
Well, I knew I did like women, but I also knew I liked men, so it was almost to the point where I didn't know which I liked more. But still, back in the day, you just couldn't be. So I tend to be with women. There was no gay club.
But at what point did you know that you were attracted to men?
I would say probably when I was 16 or 17.
Okay. See, I never even had that concept of being attracted to men.
Yeah.
So for me, it was just something out of my realm of knowledge and experience. I didn't know that people had those feelings.
I never did until today.
You hung around with the wrong guys, Matt, obviously.
Well, as a Navy brat, I didn't hang around with a lot of people growing up because I would move every 2 or 3 years. So I think I didn't have an opportunity to build relationships with people to find more of these things out.
So basically, Matt is a flaming heterosexual. Flaming.
Flaming. See, now that
can't even imagine.
I think it's more of a blatant heterosexual.
Or flaming. You could say flaming. Fierce. You're fierce.
To answer your question, Matt, I had a friend that I was probably 12, 13, maybe 14, somewhere in there. And I knew the concept, but it was just something on TV shows or, something like that. And I went over to his house once and he had a twin brother, and he was a headbanger, long hair, rocker, more Metallica Slayer than Poison. Uh-huh. We get over to his house and his twin brother came out of the kitchen and like floated 3 inches above the ground. I mean, it was one of the most effeminate people I had ever met, let alone male or female gender. This was like, and he comes out, he's like, "Hi guys," and I'm like, and Mike, who's like, "Oh, this is my brother Scott." I'm like, "Oh, Scott." He goes, "Call me Scotty. Do you guys want something to eat?" And he went back in the kitchen, and I'm like, "Holy shit, dude!" He goes, "I know." And so we had this conversation about it. And Scotty was a lifelong friend and is a hairdresser in Seattle now, and I think the world of him. Me and Mike got in more fights in high school because Scotty would want to come to the party with us, and we're like, "Scott, don't come to the party." He's like, "Please." We're like, "Okay."
Yeah.
And then you had to defend his honor.
Yeah. We'd find him outside crying because somebody punched him, and Mike's like, "We got to deal with this." And I'm like, "Okay, let's go."
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was just thinking that I really don't know when I became aware of what homosexuality was. I knew it was happening back in junior high, like 8th and 9th grade. I was delivering newspapers, and I remember hearing about AIDS at the time, because that would have been like 80, 81, and I used to read the newspapers, but I think it never really dawned on me exactly what that meant. It's like, yeah, there's men who are with men, so it's like I was starting to get the idea, and then I left Bremerton, Washington, and then moved to the Philippines. And there was no real opportunity for that till I heard about Beanie Boys. And in the Philippines, Beanie Boys were apparently effeminate men who would hang out at the hair salons or something, because my mother had mentioned them. And then I was like, well, I don't want to be around that, So there was something growing up that caused me to not want to be near men who acted in effeminate ways, And so I think I just kind of rejected that concept for a long time. But
You were a sissy phobe.
I didn't meet, I think.
Let me ask you, Matt. So now,
Yeah.
how do you feel about it today?
Oh, I don't really care.
Yeah.
I mean, people
But
do
I
whatever
think
they're going
that's
to
so
do.
funny how we feel back then. Was it because we were like, for me, I know it was, I didn't want to be associated with it because I wasn't going to get my ass kicked. I wasn't going to be made fun of. I wanted to be the popular guy. And if you were going to be the popular guy, you couldn't be gay.
Right.
So it's so funny, but now we're more, endearing to like everything that happens to the LGBTQ community, watching these kids who are so proud of coming out. And I'm kind of jealous of that a little bit because I couldn't do that.
Well, you didn't come out till 12 years ago. So why did you wait so long? I mean, because there are plenty of forerunners, starting with, let's say, Rock Hudson, for that matter, who was like the epitome of masculinity, who wound up having AIDS, and everybody's like shocked that this guy happens to be gay. But then, Freddie Mercury, who later also passed, unfortunately, definitely was bisexual. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm assuming that you were in a group of people that would be really visceral in their opinions towards you, like friends who would come after you if you happen to mention you were gay, and that's what prevented it? Is that accurate?
Well, you think about Freddie Mercury, and then you had Boy George, but these guys were celebrities, so if they came out, nobody's going to say anything. They're big pop stars, They're going.
Well, I think everybody knew Boy George was not straight.
Well, yeah, but yeah. But there were a lot of them, like you said, Rock Hudson too. He was a big celebrity. Nobody turned their back on him.
Yeah.
It's a different world when you're not a pop star or a celebrity or a movie star, and they just will tear you down. They don't care.
Yeah,
more popular.
Yeah, I think part of it too was, at least for me in the 80s, because I was into punk rock and that kind of music. Mm-hmm. Those kids ended up in our circle, mm-hmm. And so I had quite a bit of exposure to gay kids who were out at the time, but they were all punk rockers or new wavers or goth kids or whatever. They weren't the kids that were playing on the football team who probably ended up turning out to be gay. I would have never known that. I had a friend, we went to a high school reunion. He was like captain of the chess team and is a really nice guy. And, he wasn't like a tough guy by any stretch of the imagination. And I got to my high school reunion. He's like, "Oh, I need to introduce you to my partner." And I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
But it was a shock to me, but the kids I hung out with, there was a number of alternative kids for sure, gays, lesbians.
They probably felt comfortable being with you because, I mean, in the punk world, to us, you were dressing different. You weren't dressing like everybody else. You were right. You weren't acting a certain way, so they felt really comfortable with the punk scene.
Yeah, no, I think a lot of them were there because of that and not necessarily because of the music, and then the music came later.
Right.
Greg,
exactly.
what is your experience from
Well,
being up?
I always found a weird dichotomy about that because I grew up in like, the hardcore punk, even straight edge. A lot of them were straight edge, and it seemed like it was a very macho. I mean, they were politically correct in a way because the lyrics were about politics, so they wouldn't be like, we hate fags, but it was pretty macho and not that gay friendly. But gays somehow did seem to gravitate towards punk because we were all queer in a way. We were all weirdos. So it was like, okay, I mean, feel more associated with these guys.
Yeah, the New York scene was definitely harder.
As Mr. Straightenstein here, my first encounter with somebody who was actually homosexual who was interested in me was in college. Not counting the time when I was in the bathroom and somebody knocked on the stall asking me if I wanted a blowjob. But I was like, I politely declined. I'm like, no, thank you. But then it was, we were hanging out. There were a few of us who were like doing acid, and we went wandering through the town that night. And then we were coming back, and there's one guy I got to know pretty well. I mean, not know pretty well, but I got to become familiar with. And he was like, hey, why don't we go back and like listen to some records in my dorm room? I'm like, cool. So we did that, and we listened to records like all night long, and then I left. And then the next day, I find out from my best friend who had been walking with that guy also, and he's like, oh, that guy's gay. I'm like, what? I'm like, how do you know that guy's gay? He's like, because he said he was attracted to you. I'm like, what? I spent all night with that guy.
Oh my God.
like I had no idea. But
I was scared.
I don't know if he was scared or anything. The fact is that and my wife can attest to this, I'm clueless to the fact of anybody being attracted to me. Like, to me, I never really get it. I don't know why people would be, and I don't get the signs, and so it's kind of like out of my purview. But
I've known Matt for 5 years, and he still has no clue of how attracted I am to him.
And then I made another friend later on in life, in like the early 2000s. I was doing like open mic stand-up comedy, and one guy there was into like voiceovers and stuff, and so I was curious, like, how do you get into that business? Literally, his last name was the word gay, but. And he was
should have been a clue.
Part of his stand-up was, he talked about he was gay and he came from South Dakota. But anyway, this is in like Washington D.C. Anyway, so he and I would hang out a lot together. And one time we were just talking for hours in my car outside of my house. And I was like, okay, I'll talk to you later. He's like, are you not gay? I'm like, no. Do you think I was gay? He's like, man. He goes, my gaydar is so off. Because my first wife at the time was like, is that your boyfriend or something? I'm like, yeah, he's my boyfriend. I'm like, but I'm not gay. So I didn't even know he was like interested in me either. I thought it was just getting along. And I think that may be the case with our friend Corey too, Greg. Corey is a mutual friend of ours who's gay. And he's been to my house, and I don't know, maybe he was attracted to me too. I have no idea. I should probably ask him sometime. He moved to Rhode Island. But yeah, I don't know. I should have asked Brendan, are you attracted to me? Should I know?
No.
Okay, good.
The final cap on my Scotty story is I was very drunk once, and I told Scotty that he was a very good-looking guy, and he looked at me and he goes, "You're just not my type," and I was like, hurt. There was a part of me that was like a little like, oh.
That's what I'm saying. The straight guy they want to make sure that they're accepted too. It's so funny.
No, I thought about it after you mentioned that. I'm like, how is that possible? And I'm like, oh, that's right. I did tell Scotty. There was nothing because he was my best friend's brother. But the fact that he said, I'm not into you, I was like, oh, really? Oh, man. Okay.
There was this really great gay bar in Tucson called IBT's, and they had this Sunday beer blast. So I'd always go, and they had karaoke. It was one of the few places back then that had karaoke. And I would, it was like $5 for 5 beers and a hamburger off the grill. And I'd bring all my punk rock friends.
I'm glad you specified that it was off the grill, Greg.
Yeah,
it was like just like the hamburger meat. They like
they had a barbecue set up. It was like a real fun thing on the patio.
Oh, just that detail was so necessary. Anyway, go ahead.
Okay, but what you're saying now is totally unnecessary. I'm telling a story, so be quiet. So I would take all my friends at any time, any of my friends, even if they weren't that attractive. It was like chum in the water. Like the gay guys were like, oh, here's a new guy. And they'd swarm at him. And I always thought, like, I was completely safe there. I was invisible. Like that's how I realized. That's when I was really realized how homely I was with the fact that even these gay guys who just want any fresh meat at the bar, they just totally ignored me. They never hit on me. And I was like,
man.
I'd just be there eating my hamburger, drinking my beers.
Was the hamburger from the grill?
Yeah,
No,
it was from the
raw
grill,
meat.
man.
It was raw hamburger meat, Matt, that they threw in my mouth like a seal.
Wow.
And but no, it was like it was. I know that feeling of just like these guys are just hitting on anyone who walks in the door who's like new, especially if they're straight. It seemed like they like, oh, this kid's probably straight. I really want to, hit that.
Yeah.
But not me. I was just totally ignored me.
That's the sign they carried around. Anyone but Greg.
Yeah, except for a drag queen. Later, a few years later, I did make out with this drag queen there. It was really hot. Helena Bubbles.
Okay.
I love the name.
Hold up. You want to hear the best drag queen name ever?
Sure.
Yeah.
Nicole Onoscopy.
Oh, that's a good one.
Comes with her own camera.
Yeah.
Oh man. That's a not safe for work dad joke, practically.
Most drag queen names are.
God.
All insurances. Yeah.
You know, if it wasn't for our mutual friend Corey, I wouldn't have watched like nearly every season of RuPaul's Drag Race.
Oh my God.
He's like, if you really want to know about our culture, Matt, you got to watch the show. I'm like, all right, I'll watch the show.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's a
Bianca
funny
Del
show.
Rio, one of the best
My
drag
straight friend Ilse was addicted to it. Straight
What's-
female, and she's fucking addicted to that show, like sickly, so flamingly addicted to it.
All right. Well, we have come to, I believe, the end of our program. But is there any last thing that anybody wants to dredge up regarding our client, and like if we given our client
I think
enough attention?
We barely let Ike talk. We've talked about our hetero feelings about gay stuff, and Ike's barely said anything.
I know. I am so in love with you guys. I really am. I want to know that I would never smear the straight man.
With Uber Lube.
Yeah, you guys were incredible, let me tell you. And I appreciate the topic too. It was great talking with you guys. I really
And you get a final opportunity to either promote your website or anything else you want to promote before we go.
Yeah, sure.
Feel free.
People want to find me, they can find me on ikeavelli.net, and all my social media is just a click away right on that website. And also my store where you could buy buttons, t-shirts, phone
Wait,
covers.
is that butt apostrophe NS?
Yes.
Okay.
Always plural.
Right. Just to
So
keep the
anything-
theme.
It's a
And I would like to ask Ike, is any scenes from Lube, the Gaysical, is that on YouTube? Did you ever videotape any scenes? No. Okay.
We try to keep a lot of the stuff off of the internet, only because of the costumes, especially with 50 Shades of Gay. You'll
And
find
potential copyright issues. And
Okay.
Well, yeah, a lot.
Yeah.
The
Mhm.
promos have a lot of the costumes in it, so we try not to show too much, because if people are coming out, they want to be a little surprised at what they're seeing.
maybe
Makes
just
sense.
do like only heads.
I'm going to send you a promo.
Okay. Well, we'll
Great.
look at it.
Cool.
You can sponsor the show at some point. Be one of our fake sponsors.
You go.
We'll air it.
Maybe I'll do one for Uber Lube next week.
There you go.
It sounds like a
sim-
fake sponsor.
I'll send a copy for you in case it helps.
No clothes, please.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that being the case, I want to thank Ike Avelli very much for putting up with three strange men for the course of this last hour. You can find him, as he said, at ikeavelli.net. That's Avelli with two L's. So don't pronounce it the Mexican way, everybody, or you'll wind up in the wrong spot. And that's .net, not .com, or you'll do what I did and go to the wrong place if you don't do .net. All right,
It'll
and,
all be down in the description below.
yeah, we were somewhere, or you'll find it, because I forget to do some things sometimes. But either way, if you've made it this far to the show, at the very least, you'll find this online somewhere, because we're everywhere at www.qsblaw.org. We're not .com either. We're .org. Anyway.
And you've learned a lot about diversity today. It's one to grow on.
We didn't actually learn about diversity. We just learned about homosexuals, Greg. We didn't deal with race or anything like that.
Well, some kind of diversity.
Mental
the more
diversity.
you know, Matt, the more you know.
I'm gonna tell you guys, just in a parting note, you guys were so much fun. One of the best interviews I've had in the last few months. So this was a lot of fun.
Oh, thank you. You've been fun too.
I just
Yeah,
have to
yeah.
say,
Perfect
if you
guest.
feel that way, I feel very sad for your last few months.
Was Greg just coming on to me?
Yes.
I think he was.
I
I
can
think
tell-
I think he's been coming on to you the whole show.
Yeah, for the
Ike.
6th time I came on to you. Are you just noticing?
Yeah.
Apparently you're clueless too. You're as clueless as Matt.
Well, he just came out 12 years ago, Greg. He's not
That's
quite
true.
on there.
Why haven't it come out yet? I might be the most latent homosexual in history. I'm 54.
You're an
Maybe I'm-
a-homosexual.
Maybe I'm very latent.
Knock on wood.
Incredibly latent.
Maybe you should talk to your brother. He can give you tips,
You could.
but
Yeah.
not in the incestuous way.
Oh, come on.
I just vomited in my throat.
And yet, oddly, I'm turned on.
All right,
It's
this
like I
has
gagged
been,
on a mic or something. I feel like I gagged on a microphone.
this has been the proctologist offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker, everybody. So have a good day.
Your consultation with the law offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker has ended. You may pay your retainer at www.qsblaw.org. Please exit to the right of the water cooler and grab a candy from the front desk. We hope to see you again soon, but you need to leave now. I said leave. Why don't they ever listen? Get out! Get out!